All set. Got it. So I'm going to open the Katuitt Fire District Prudential Committee meeting of the 22nd of November, 2021. Can we do roll call, please? Starting with Mark.
Seth Burdick, present.
Present. Charlie Eager, clerk, present.
Fran Parks, present. Can we stand for the, is anyone recording? No one's recording. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So, so Mark, did you have a opportunity to review the September and October minutes? Okay. Seth, did you have an opportunity to review those minutes?
I did.
Okay. No questions or concerns?
Not for me. I did.
Okay.
And then I muted myself.
I just unmuted myself. I have had an opportunity to review the September and October minutes, and I have no comments or corrections.
Okay. I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes of September 8th, right? No. For the minutes of October 25th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And also, we have an executive session minutes from October 25th. Everybody all set with those?
Yes.
Could I have a motion to accept the minutes of October 25th?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And the last meeting is the Prudential Committee meeting on November the 8th, which was a tax classification hearing.
I don't have any questions. Minutes are fine with me.
I'll accept a motion to approve the November 8th meeting of the Katuitt Fire District.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Any public comment? No public comment. Okay. So we'll go to the treasurer, and if everybody could please mute. Oh.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Turning first to the results of through October, from a revenue perspective, we are on or slightly ahead of budget in all categories. Particularly notable, the current year tax collections are ahead of budget at 38%. At this point, remember, the target would be 33%. So at 38%, we're ahead of the budget. And collections are ahead of last year at this point, despite the fact that there was a 5% reduction in the taxes that were levied, as you recall from the tax classification meeting. So even though we have a smaller population of funds to collect, we are collecting better than last year. The prior year tax collections are down about 60%, but putting that in perspective, the beginning receivables from which we would be collecting those prior year taxes is also down approximately 80%. So that 60% is understandable and in fact looks pretty healthy from a overall point of view. The only downside in the tax revenue area is on liens redeemed. And despite the fact that our liens redeemed are up slightly in terms of amounts to be collected, the collections so far this year have fallen behind last year. It's a minor part of our tax collections, but it is something just to note and keep track of. Turning to the water revenue is
Ray, can I interrupt with a question?
Sure.
Just to be clear, the prior year taxes just refers to taxes that were levied in the prior fiscal year but not collected for what reasons? Just
Not collected or abated, if you will. So those were remaining to be collected as we started the year. And as I said, that amount is actually down 80% from where it was the prior year, which means our prior year collections have been very strong over the past 2 or so years.
okay, got it. Thank you.
Turning to water revenue is just about on budget at 32% versus 33%. 33%. And as we look at looking forward, the big amount that water will be collected is in January when we get the excess usage during the summer months. Realizing that our pumpage is down approximately 30% through October, we can probably anticipate that bill would be down approximately that amount. But as we've looked at it and looking at the water department's own projection, it still appears that we will be on budget despite that shortfall that we can anticipate in January. So we should end up the year on budget in terms of water revenue. Ambulance revenue is very strong, 77% of budget versus a target of 33. And further, billings are running ahead of collections. And so this would indicate to me that future collections on ambulance revenue should remain strong for the next few months. And finally, in the other category, as I mentioned, I think in previous months, the COVID reimbursement grant was actually received this year in July for prior year expenses. So in terms of revenue, we get a pickup this year to add to our budget, if you will, our budget accomplishment. So it's pretty comfortable that we're going to make revenue budget for the year, looking out at this point in time. In terms of expenditures, all areas are either at or under budget, with the exceptions of just those areas where we have initial one-time annual expenses. For example, in the Prudential area, we pay our property and casualty insurance in July. That bill was actually up 6%, but I would say that from what I have read and seen, that is in line with most property and casualty insurance bills this year, as the insurance companies have incurred a number of expenditures on disasters in previous years and have tried to recoup some of that in their rates. But overall, once you take that out, Prudential is actually below budget. The next area where you see a one-time expense is in debt. We had our first payment of our new note, $230,000 as budgeted, and that occurred in October. That distorts the annual picture, but again, we are on budget and anticipate to finish the year on budget. Finally, in the benefits area, we had our one-time payment for retirement expense, and that happened in July. Again, other than that, benefits are on budget. Turning to articles, there's really not much to report. There's very little activity in the article area over the past month. The two active programs, the fire station repairs and the water department security, are still in process. Hopefully the water department will be able to wrap that up this year sometime. And the same is true of the fire station repairs and renovations. The purchases for the vehicles, the new articles that were passed in May are scheduled for later this year. There was one that was scheduled for October, but that's been deferred. That's about it on articles and the results through October. Are there any questions? If not, I just point out that we have filed all our state reports. They were accepted, and our free cash was certified this year at slightly in excess of 1.2 million, which is up substantially from the prior year. Any questions on that? If not, Madam Chairman,
Ray, is that a larger number because of water department revenue?
what about
The 1.2 million, which you said was substantially larger than prior years. What's the reason for that being?
how much of that is new to the water?
Yeah.
Probably about half.
Okay, and the remainder?
That's off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you to exact percentages. And the remainder of that amount?
Underspending, I think underspending was somewhere in excess of 30,000, and revenue other than water accounted for the balance, including retired articles that we did in last May's meeting.
Right, thank you.
I have a question. Do you know if any of that 4 point whatever billion the state's going to get, if any of that goes to fire and water departments?
I'm sorry,
The money that the state just got from the federal government, the $4 billion for roads and infrastructure.
I saw that there was going to be money available. I haven't read any details on that to speak intelligently about it,
Okay, thanks.
but I'll try to follow up on that.
So, treasure. So the next item on the agenda is a capital plan, which came out, requests and approval to have a 5-year capital plan for the district was a suggestion of the Policy Advisory Committee last year. So I've asked the chairman of the fire commissioners and the chairman of the water commissioners to start working on that. we generally have them come before us in the middle of the year to go over their budgets and see how their budgets are doing, which is, I believe, still in the bylaws. And so I asked them to come in with their capital improvement thoughts for a 5-year plan. I wrote down some thoughts for the Prudential Committee. One is we have a cesspool, and I talked to DJ McKinnon, and there's a good chance that we can get a lot of financial assistance in putting in an IA system, an updated septic system. I would just have to make sure, we just have to make sure that with the low usage that it would get, that would be appropriate. You know, my suggestion would be to also ask the Masonic Lodge if they want to join us in that project, which of course would require a new parking lot, which is long past overdue. That one's just sort of sinking in places.
Fran, is the cesspool directly underneath this parking lot between the Masonic Lodge and?
It's behind us.
It's behind us.
And the basement, replace the basement ceiling with a drop-down ceiling. There's no ceiling down there at the moment. And I put the Katuitt School on the capital plan. Is that an appropriate item for a capital plan, the Katuitt School? Is that appropriate for a capital plan? Okay. So, excuse me. So, and I didn't know if the treasurer's, the finance department had any other items, you know, new software, new computers, you know, anything like that that would be part of a capital improvement plan.
Improved audio recording technology. That could be one thing. Just as an aside.
I suppose we're going to have to update the computers, the remote computers that we use. Beyond that, I can't think of anything major that we're going to need. And if you replace a printer today, it's really very small expenditure.
Yeah.
Stuff where they're putting in the capital plan. In terms of the facility at the office, we're there so rarely that I can't see any value in upgrading that. If you upgrade the laptops and we're able to bring the laptop to whatever office that we're going to be working on, that should be sufficient. Let me ask the assistant treasurer if she has any suggestions.
You've been muted the whole time, as am I. I think your suggestion about the computer equipment, I think printers can fold into that. If we start using computer equipment back in the office, those are in significant need of upgrading. But aside from that, I can't think of anything big unless there is something we need to do to be legal, I mean, to still operate in that office.
Well, I would suggest that we both have laptops, they're district laptops. You would bring that to the office. We may have to have an term escapes me,
Doc.
docking station, so that you can use the facilities that you have set up there in terms of screening.
Sure. I think you're still muted. Sorry.
I won't let me remember myself. He doesn't want to hear from me. I can't.
Ray's having difficulty unmuting himself. What you were explaining is that we would bring district-owned laptops into the office and put them in a docking station. And I have started to do that with this now. So yes, we would still need a docking station to connect your laptop. But again, those aren't major expenses.
Okay.
So I thought of one major expense. And that would be syncing our system and with the water department, having them use the same software that we use.
That would be great. I think that you're talking about expanding the radar system to include that.
Yeah. I think that would be obviously a hard sell, but
Yeah, that would certainly, I can see it would have a benefit on the revenue side. I think they've just been resistant to that. If we can get them willing to do that, then I think that would be worthwhile to expand the license for that. I think that would probably be somewhere around a $5,000 bill to expand that license for them. I didn't mention it because of all the resistance we've had about integration in the past.
That would also involve changing the whole online credit card payment system. So it would probably be more expensive than that, because right now it's tied in and fed by their current software system.
You'd have to expand well, they have a credit card system right now. You'd have to expand that to cover fire department and Freedom Hall, which are isolated transactions at best. 3 or 4 transactions a month. And so far we have not had an overwhelming acceptance of the online payment system for water bills.
Charlie, how is Barnstable doing with their online water payment? You know?
They probably got about 50% doing it, and the rest will do, still send in the bills.
Okay. And how long have they been doing it?
It's
been a while.
probably been about 4 years now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they were a couple of years ahead of us.
So maybe it just needs to be promoted more.
Well, I think it definitely needs to be promoted more.
The last time I checked, we were between 3 and 7% of our water revenue came in through the credit card system.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the fire department can lock in for permits.
Permits and the inspections.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Ray, for my benefit, can you just, and perhaps for people who are listening, just give us a brief overview of what the current systems are as between fire, water, Prudential?
Currently, the district operates the radar system, which is probably the 3rd or 2nd most popular municipal system in Massachusetts, and certainly the most popular in smaller districts like ours. That covers not only the normal ledgers and reporting system, but it also includes our expenditure, our warrant and payable system. We have a separate third-party payroll system, which is integrated on a transaction basis with the ledger, so that we do all of the manipulations in the payroll on the payroll system, and the summary data is then fed into the ledger, the VADAR ledger system. The water department operates on a legacy system that they wrote several years ago, more than I can
More than 20.
remember, and that is supported by a local entrepreneurial operation. It is also the same system that is used by, I believe, the Harwich Water Department. That system was expanded this past year to, actually, I think it was 2 years ago, now to incorporate online payments through a separate bank account. And as I think Lisa just said, a small percentage of the payments, both in terms of dollars and I would guess transactions, come in through that online payment system. VADAR does offer a billing system that I'm sure could accommodate what the water department does. Right now, we rely on that legacy system to maintain the detailed water receivable records, so that your bill and your account lives on the water department legacy system. We operate what we call a control account on the VADAR system, so that we take the summary input from the legacy system and record that on the VADAR system. That's done manually on a monthly basis in terms of the billings, collections, and similar transactions related to customer accounts. We'll create a journal entry. You'll get a report from the water department that summarizes the billings, the collections. You retype the summary entry and create a journal entry from that, and that's uploaded into the system.
It actually happens on a day-by-day basis on each transaction, on each deposit. That's what I take reports that are fed to me by the water department, and I enter them in VADAR. On a month-to-month basis, we do a journal entry.
Right, you're recording the receipts twice.
So we're recording the receipts twice, Jennifer. Every single day, I might have several into VADAR from a document produced from Brava.
So if you had one system, you could avoid that duplicate. But then you run into a bit of a regulatory problem in the sense that it is written in my legal job description that I have to take control of the receipts. So it has to be somehow I control what they enter. Right now, we do it indirectly through Lisa recording those receipts.
So
But there's ways you can build controls for that.
I would, on our yearly audits, the current system of 2 recording systems is considered a defect. And one of the reasons that we went and pushed the credit card system was that was going to, if enough people used it, that would help, partially correct that defect.
Well, it's not so much the duplicate recording as it's an internal control problem in that the same person controls the day-to-day billing and collections, which is the classic environment for what's called lapping, which is a way of stealing money. In other words, I bill you, and when you pay your bill, I take a part of it and apply the rest of it to another individual's bill. So it looks like his bill is paid, and you keep that up, paying your bill with the next receipt, or keeping part of it. It's called lapping. And it's a classic internal control weakness. And it's that mentions it is that the auditors repeatedly mentioned. And the water department has instituted, if you will, supervisory controls to somewhat offset that, where they review the billing. But it still doesn't get around the fact that you have the same person manually doing the transactions, billing, sending the bills out, and applying the cash receipts to those bills.
And that's not a reflection of the person that's doing it, it's just a reflection of the current system.
Understood.
Yeah, it's a classic situation. The auditors would have to respond to that and point that out.
Okay. And again, so I understand, who is doing both of those, billing and collecting?
Jan, the office manager at the water department.
Okay, and that's because of the type of system they use, or because the Prudential Committee system and the Water Committee system are separate?
It's basically a segregation of duties issue. In other words, I don't think the water department is comfortable with having all the receipts come to the district and having the district record those receipts and report them to the water department. If we had one system, it would be easier to do their reporting. Right now, it would be not impossible, they could recognize it. So you would enter it once and it would be uploaded to their legacy system. So you have really two issues. One is just the simple segregation of duties, and the getting the water department comfortable with the Prudential finance department recording receipts.
The answer is, that's the way it's always been done.
When you say the answer is, that's the answer that the water department gives? Or?
No, that's just a historical fact.
Okay.
I think the water department, I think I'm correct in saying this, their position is that they would not feel comfortable with someone else recording the receipts.
Why not? What's the discomfort?
They feel they have their control over the customer's accounts by applying these receipts themselves.
Again, the segregation of duties that you would like to see is the segregation between, you don't want the person doing the billing to be the person doing the collecting.
Precisely.
Okay. And that is simply a preferred
It's good
accounting.
practice.
It's good practice.
Yes.
Okay. So far you've told us about Vader is what the Prudential Committee uses. The legacy system is what the water department uses, what does the fire department use? What does the fire department use?
Our fire department basically operates under the wing of the Prudential Committee. So all their accounting is done through VEDA.
Okay. So it's just water that's the outlier.
Water receivables and water cash receipts. We pay all the bills.
Can they be compelled to join that system, or is it something that they have to adopt and agree to of their own accord?
No,
I can't answer that one.
Just for the sake, yeah, there's not, that's not a clear, there's no answer to that, or is it just you'd have to look it up?
I think it would be subject for discussion between the two Prudential, between the Prudential and water commission.
So the fire department uses VEDAR for receivables and expenditures.
The water department.
I'm sorry, fire department.
The Prudential Finance Office to handle all of their transactions.
The fire department does.
Fire department does.
okay, any other discussions on that topic? Okay. I wanted to ask Mark a question about the two at school. Is there another meeting scheduled yet? That you're aware of?
There is a meeting scheduled for December 15th. We are, for the last, I guess, 4 months, have had monthly scheduled meetings, simply because both parties want to keep this on the front burner, so to speak. And I can share, this is nothing about our negotiating position. We continue to meet monthly, we being on the town side, Andy Clyburn and David Anthony, and on the villages side, the district side, Tim Danhauser and myself and Jackie Barton. Mark Robinson is assisting, working independently with another person who I don't know at the town on the proposed conservation restriction. And we, I would say that both parties are interested in completing the transaction if possible. There is, of course, a 2/3 vote required of the town council, even if the negotiators can come to a complete agreement, which we have not done yet, but we are moving forward. I would say both sides, good faith resolutions of the issues that have arisen so far. It takes a while, but we're moving forward.
Okay, thank you. The next, so for December, the two choices of a meeting are either the 20th or the 27th. So which is your preference?
I don't think I have a preference. Either of those days is fine by me.
The 20th would be my preference.
20th, I'll do the 20th.
20th, Charlie? Okay, we'll do the 20th. That'll get it out of the way before Christmas and New Year's. So, all right. So is there any public comment?
I have a matter, it's not reasonably anticipated.
Oh, okay.
Just
Hold on,
briefly.
public comment. Go ahead.
Well, you want to do public comment first? That's fine. Whichever way you want
No,
it.
go ahead.
Oh, mine was just about, we had discussed, I don't remember if it was at our meeting or at a policy advisory committee meeting, the topic of governance and a governance study possibly. I just would like if we could put that on the agenda for the coming meeting, just to start talking about that.
Okay.
In whatever form that takes.
I strongly agree that that would be worthwhile, and to the extent that we can formally or informally invite the water and fire commissioners, that would probably be worthwhile too.
Just to start talking about it, so just so that it could appear. That was my comment.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile having a preliminary discussion about.
Okay.
The only other thing I would mention is I'm going to try to put together a meeting of the bylaws committee, which may have to go into next year, but if we can squeeze it in ahead of the December 20th Prudential Committee meeting, there may be some thoughts arising out of that group as well. So I'll go ahead and with the, if you can give me some tips as to how to get a meeting properly noticed, I'm going to go ahead and do that.
If you come up with a date, I can I'll show you the agenda.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So is there any public comment? Carol Zayas?
I see Carol's.
Hi,
raising her hand.
thank you for the opportunity. I had to sign on late, but I did
Can't
hear
hear
you talking about. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Turn up your microphone.
It's on full. Can you hear me now?
Better, but see if you have a volume control.
I'm as high as I can go, but I'll talk into the speaker. Is this better? No? Can you guys hear me?
Slightly.
How about now? I'll talk really loud. No? Still nothing?
Carol, try putting a chat in so we can read your question.
I'm on my phone, so that's difficult. Let me see if I can try that.
She typing?
Yes. Yes, I am.
I'll put that back in. Is that good? So can you hear us?
Lisa, or can you hear what they're saying on your, do you have headphones that correlate to these little things?
Carol has spoken. She's saying, hold on. Oh, it disappeared, Carol, bring it back. So Carol's request is, I would like to again offer my assistance in developing a system for video meetings.
Video feeds for,
So that these technological help, you mean? Because we obviously still need it. Because
Yeah.
this is with the, you know what I mean? Between, I don't know, how is the audio on this meeting, Carol? I can't hear you, but you could give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Is it?
yeah. We're going to be meeting with Nantucket Sound in the next few weeks to see what they can assist us with. But thank you for the offer.
Yeah, because if we're gonna continue to do it this way, between the reverberations and not being able to hear what's going on and having this and muting that and doing this, it's very,
Just won't use
you
it.
know.
I agree. We need to resolve
The
this.
sooner we can sort it out, the better. Is that something, I mean, where the funds come from to do, to have Nantucket Sound come? Is that just a general,
Well,
I mean, it's just like a, you don't have to, right, just be regular maintenance, whatever.
yeah,
We have an IT budget.
Right,
Not a lot of movement, but I think this is getting to the point where we really.
right. I agree.
Needs to be done.
yep. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks.